Please call the roll.
Winter. Dowling.
Here.
Swallow. Here. Martin.
Here.
Bowman.
Here.
Stelling.
Here.
Beer. Here. Brooks.
All right, we have a quorum. First item on the agenda is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at City Council meetings will be approved by one vote of the Council. Any member of the Council desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 20th, 2021. And item B, approval of claims in the amount of $151,076.53 and payroll expenses of $182,146.23. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
I have a motion by Mr. Stelling and a second by Mrs. Beer to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling.
Yes.
Beer. Yes. Bowman.
Yes.
Swallow.
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Item 6, reports from staff. I'm going to ask that, for the most part, we just skip over the reports unless a council member would have something that they would want to report on specifically at this meeting. I will mention, Drake's here this evening. The Water Department was going to be receiving some recognition this evening for their outstanding efforts with the major water line breaks that happened was it last month?
Yes.
It was barely last month.
Barely last month, yeah.
But we're going to get them the recognition at a future meeting when they can all be here. I don't have anything further to report. Angelica's not here this evening. We don't have a business manager's report. So we'll move on. Item 9, presentation from 7, remarks and inquiries by citizens. Sorry. Anybody? All right. Thank you for being here. We'll hear from you in a little bit. I skipped 2 items. Item 8 is National Mentoring Month Proclamation. This is a national effort that's going on to recognize the efforts of mentors and try to encourage more mentoring in communities. Did you bring the proclamation, Shelley? Save me from finding it. So, I would like to read this proclamation. This is a proclamation of the Mayor of the City of Alva, Oklahoma, proclaiming the month of January 2022 as National Mentoring Month in the City of Alva. Whereas January 2022 marks the 20th anniversary of National Mentoring Month, which honors volunteer mentors who support young people by showing up for them every day and demonstrating their commitment to helping them thrive. And whereas mentoring programs like that of the NWOSU Literacy Center, Alva Police Department Kids and Cops, and Alva Independent School District make our city stronger by driving impactful relationships that increase social capital for young people and provide invaluable support networks. And whereas students who meet regularly with their mentors are more than 52% less likely than their peers to skip a day of school, and youth who face an opportunity gap but have a mentor are 55% more likely to be enrolled in college than those who did not have a mentor. And whereas quality mentoring promotes healthy relationships and communication, positive self-esteem, emotional well-being, and growth of a young person in their relationships with other adults. And whereas youth who are mentored are 46% less likely to start using drugs and 27% less likely to start drinking, according to the partnership. And now, therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Alva, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 as National Mentoring Month in the City of Alva, Oklahoma, and encourage all citizens, businesses, public and private agencies, and religious and educational institutions to celebrate, elevate, and encourage mentoring in the city of Alva and recruit adult mentors. Passed and approved this 18th day of January 2022. This does not require council approval. Item 9, presentation from NWSU of the 2021 Fall Semester Alva Incentive Scholarship Program. Skeeter Bird.
Thank you, Mayor. I have enough trouble speaking without a mask on, so I'm going to pull that off for a second. I want to start with a couple of thank yous. I want to thank the council and our community for their continued investment in our students and our university. It's been a long time. The university's been, the city's been investing in our community and in our students, and it's very well appreciated. The other thing is that it's going to be a little, some of you already heard about Dr. Cunningham's departure, and I want to go on record as publicly thanking both Rick and Janet for their service. They have been superb. I was on the ride for 16 years. I feel grateful for being a part of that, and we're going to miss them very much when they leave in July. So she's going to speak in a moment, but just fantastic people and a neat power couple, and I will be ever grateful to be a part of this last 16 years. Before you, you should have a bill for $265,062.00, investments in our students. I'll be happy to address any questions or comments that you might have about that bill.
Does the council have any questions?
How many students are going to be rewarded from this, or do you have the numbers?
I have the whole list, but it's not tallied.
If we have Dr. Casey here,
Yeah.
you know exactly.
It's not total at the bottom, I'm sorry. I could guess, but that would just be a guess. 260? Guess.
In that range,
Yeah.
probably, but
I can get that answer back to you if you really need it, Taylor.
I don't really need it, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments? With that, I will hand it back to Dr. Janet Cunningham.
well, thank you, Skeeter. And two things, Rick, don't get the big head on that power cover. And the other thing, maybe unfortunately for some, fortunately for others, we're still going to be here. We are not going anywhere. I've told people for a long time, any decision that I've made as president, I've always made it with a lens looking toward, I'm going to have to live with this forever and ever, or for as long as I'm around. So, and that gives you a little different perspective sometimes than somebody who comes in and it knows they're spending a short time and moving on to something else. So I'm just going to take some personal privilege, just thank all of you. We've been doing this, I think we started out once a year and then twice a year, and it's never something that we take for granted and don't want to come and do. We think that's a privilege and a way to steward such such an innovative program, for one thing, that I've told you before is the envy of a lot of schools across the state. And just my personal thanks to all of you for, I know I'm preaching to the choir for the most part, but that you're very supportive of Northwestern, and that is such a great thing. And we really do try to do our part. We were talking today at our executive team meeting about things that we specifically try to do and make an effort to bring people into the university, into Alba is what that means. And things that take a lot of work and that that we don't have to do but want to do because we feel like we're part of the citizens of Alva. And we just went through a quick list of summer and fall some activities. We had Cashin High School call us. They wanted to play a game with Ulysses, Kansas. one to play it on turf and one to play it about halfway. So we, let them use Ranger Field. That meant that we had to have a lot of people there kind of still watching things. We have a great partnership now with Alva High School on the small school tournament. 16 teams coming in, and I know those individuals are staying in hotels and buying food and buying gas. We hosted a football playoff in, was it Class B? Class C, I can't remember which one, but that, again, you have to ask to be able to do, you kind of have to bid in to be able to do that. And it never, Mr. Franz is always ready to bid in any of those that he can get. Of course, Ranger Preview was back. That's a big event. A lot of people come in the night before to be able to be at the Ranger Preview. We had a really good homecoming this year. That's been going on for a long time. Family Day was good. Our college rodeo was back. We had about 600 competitors, and a lot of them are staying. Their families are coming in to watch them compete. We have as many athletic camps as the coaches can muster, and that's a lot. We were back to hosting the basic student council leadership camp too, one in June, one in July. That's a bunch of high school kids coming in for several days, staying at the university, but you can almost bet when those families come to bring them and when they come and get them to go home, there's some residual sales tax that's being paid with that. We have hosted Heartland Best, which is a robotics event on campus. And so that's just a few of them. I think about 125 years ago, City of Alva fought for the institution. If you go back and read the history book, it's kind of fun to look at that. I hope that the community doesn't ever have to fight to keep the institution. You just don't know what happens in the state, but the fact that there is this kind of support, I think, bodes very well for the community. And Alva and Northwestern are tied. Sometimes that's been a love-hate relationship through the years, but I would like to believe that during my 16 years, it's been all love. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Cunningham. Thank you, Skeeter. We will take action on this agenda item in the Economic Development Authority meeting, but I will add that university is a huge driver of the local economy, and without the university, Alva is a completely different community. I think the people sitting here at the table, as well as many people out in the community, understand the value that Northwestern brings to our community, and I appreciate your leadership, Dr. Cunningham, for 16 years and before. We wish you nothing but the best in retirement and look forward to many more great years with Northwestern as a contributing member of our community. So, thank you guys.
So much. And we trust you to do that in your next meeting, so we're going to leave.
All right.
Thank you.
Item 10 is discussion and action on resolution number 2022-001, approving interlocal cooperative agreement for the Circuit Engineering District. This is some routine business that we conduct each year to have an agreement with CED number 8. They're located out on West Lakes Drive. They help us with being able to get signs for that meet all of ODOT's requirements for our streets and things like that. Anyway, it's by having this agreement in place, we can work with them and oftentimes get a better deal than what we might be able to get going out shopping somewhere else. So that is what this resolution is regarding. There have not been, I don't believe there have been any changes to the agreement from previous years. So I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-001, approving interlocal cooperative agreement for Circuit Engineering CED number 8.
Second. Have a motion by Mr. Stelling and a second by Mr. Bowman to approve resolution 2022-001, interlocal cooperative agreement with CED number 8. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
Item number 11, discussion and action to approve Resolution 2022-002, authorizing application for Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application from the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department. The Pool Finance Committee, as you guys know, they've been working really diligently since August, since they've come together, and they are preparing a grant application for several $100,000, probably in the neighborhood of $750,000 to assist with the pool. One of the requirements for this grant is that City Council, the governing body, approve a resolution to authorize that application to be submitted. It will not be submitted until the fall, when the deadline is when the deadline is. But this approval will be one of those steps in that process. I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-002, authorizing application for Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application from the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department 2022.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Bowman, a second by Mr. Stelling to approve Resolution 2022-002, authorizing the application to the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant program through the Department of Tourism and Recreation. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Bowman,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
Item 12 is discussion and action to authorize the city business manager in conjunction with the Pool Finance Committee to negotiate contract terms with Kimberly for the planning and design of the City of Alva pool and aquatics projects, subject to final approval by the City Council. So the Pool Finance Committee sent out an RFQ for engineering and design firms for the pool. They had 6 of those RFQs returned and considered by the committee. The committee narrowed it down to 3, then they narrowed it down to 2, and then last week they unanimously recommended that we pursue a contract with Kimberly Horn for the engineering firm. The terms of the contract need to be laid out, so Angelica and the committee will negotiate with Kimberly Horn what those terms look like and what the fee will look like. And then once that contract has been negotiated, and it will be brought to City Council for approval. This authorization permits the negotiation to occur. Any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I make the motion, city business manager in conjunction with the Pool Finance Committee to negotiate contract terms with Kimberly Horn for planning and design of the City of Alba pool and aquatics projects, subject to final approval by the City Council.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Stelling, a second by Mr. Bowman to authorize the business manager and the Pool Finance Committee to negotiate with Kimberly Horn contract terms for the planning and design of the Alva pool and aquatics projects, subject to final approval by the City Council. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
Item 13 is discussion and action on the appointment of city representatives to negotiate on the city's behalf for the fiscal year 2022-2023 IAFF Local 3782 union contract. Randy and former member Mary Hamilton were the negotiating committee with the union last year. Mary is no longer with us. Obviously, Randy's still here. But each year we approve the members that are going to negotiate the firefighter union contract. So I'll let you guys discuss and decide who we want to recommend.
I'll give you kind of an overview. Really, it's, when we've been on, there hasn't really been any negotiating. Basically, sat down, see once what their concerns were like this, and basically take it back to city manager, and then kind of a bit back and forth. Now, last year, actually, Angelica pretty much handled it all. She had really good rapport with the firemen and stuff, and kind of got, and there really hasn't been that big of issues for us since I've been on her. I know it was originally designed at one time when there was some controversy between the city and the union, and so that's why they started this. So really, it's been pretty simple, kind of a go-between at times, and everything kind of kick stuff around and see what they're wanting and help investigate stuff. So really, it's, if anybody wants to do it or considers doing it, I mean, it's really pretty simple.
I'd volunteer to take a look at it if nobody else wanted to, but.
I mean, I'd still do it if that's fine, but just whatever.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that Taylor Dowling and Randy Stelling are appointed city representatives on behalf of the city for FY 22-23 IFF Local 3782 union contract.
Second the motion.
I have a motion by Mrs. Beer, second by Mr. Dowling, to appoint Randy Stelling and Taylor Dowling as city representatives to negotiate on the city's behalf for the 22-23 IAFF Local 3782 union contract. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Beer,
Yes.
Dowling,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Stelling,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Item 14 is new business. We don't have anything that meets the definition for new business, so we'll move on to 15, remarks and inquiries by council members. All right, item 16 is adjournment. And we will call to order the regular Alva Utility Authority meeting. Shelley, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Brooks, Beer,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Swallow, Dowling,
Here.
Winters.
All right, we have a quorum. Item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AUA meetings will be approved by one vote of the authority. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items: approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of December 20th, 2021, and approval of claims in the amount of $68,628.30 and payroll expenses of $45,103.07. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Have a motion by Mr. Stelling and a second by Mrs. Beer to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
Item 5 is discussion and action to approve change order number 2 to increase the water main extension to Alva High School by $1,000. Was this discussed in the water meeting?
Aki,
Drake, can you?
Yes.
I think it was discussed, I couldn't remember if it was then or if she had mentioned it in one of the previous council meetings, said it was kind of an upcoming thing that they had found that, so, you know, it's a...
But what happened was they believed it was noted on the plans as having originally a 6-inch line, but it's an 8-inch line, and so the $1,000 is to cover the expense of tying in with 8-inch instead of 6. So that.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was.
Is there any questions or discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve change order number 2, increase the water main extension to Alva High School by $1,000.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Stelling, a second by Mrs. Beer, to approve change order number 2, increasing the water main extension to Alva High School by $1,000. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Dowling,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
All right, and that is all for the Utility Authority. We'll adjourn that meeting and call to order the regular Alva Economic Development Authority meeting.
Swallow,
Here.
Dowling,
Here.
Winters, Bowman,
Here.
Stelling,
Here.
Beer,
Here.
Brooks, Martin.
Here.
All right, item 3 is discussion and action on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AEDA meetings will be approved by one vote of the authority. Any trustee desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed for discussion as the next item on the regular agenda. It will then be considered separately. The consent agenda consists of the consideration and action on the following items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 20th, 2021. And item B, approval of claims in the amount of $286,534.59 and payroll expenses of $12,051.44. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Stelling, a second by Mrs. Beer to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Dowling,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
All right. Item 5 is discussion and action to approve the payment of NWSU Foundation invoice for the 2021 fall semester scholarships in an amount not to exceed $265,062. We heard the presentation from Mr. Bird and Dr. Cunningham. Is there any discussion? I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the payment to NWSU Foundation's invoice for 2021 fall semester scholarships in an amount not to exceed $265,062.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Stelling and a second by Mr. Bowman to approve the payment of the NWSU Foundation invoice for the fall 2021 semester scholarships in an amount not to exceed $265,062. Is there any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Stelling,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Dowling.
Yes.
That is it. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.